was almost 5 the first time I took a subway, and I was asleep for half of it at least. I'd fallen asleep in the car on the way to the station, but after I woke up in the train, I was excited to go up the stairs and to the photographer who took this picture. I remember there was a rocking chair in the studio, and I'd only ever seen them in books, so I ran up to it and I rocked it so hard that I fell backwards and slammed my head on the floor. So my parents picked me up and took me home on the bus because the train hadn't come back yet. And they assumed that I was crying because my head hurt. But what I was actually crying over was, well, first I thought that we had gone from the regular world to a brand new world somewhere in the sky that looked exactly the same as the regular world. And I wanted to go back downstairs to the world that I lived in. And you may recognize this belief as complete nonsense, but at the time I was 4 and it made sense to me. You know, I didn't know that we'd gone downstairs to get to the subway because I was asleep at that time. So to me, we went from a car and in the regular world and a train in the regular world, then we climbed up some stairs into the sky world, and I wasn't just being stupid. I didn't have all of the information I needed to come to the correct conclusion. Also, there's no world in the sky, but again, I'm not even 5 yet. There also weren't thousands of truckers in Ottawa in the last few weeks. Half the police force didn't resign in support of them. Not that that really helped, but there was no woman killed when the RCMP cleared the downtown occupation, and there are no microchips or 5G or insert scary sounding substance meant to suggest that the recipients are being poisoned here in the coronavirus vaccine. And, you know, ever since I started talking about the Freedom Convoy in Ottawa, I've had a lot of misinformed people try to convince me otherwise, to the point where I had to take my email out of my profile because, well, by convince me, I mean they were insulting me. I've been called everything from a child to a child abuser to Hillary Clinton's reincarnated demon. If that comment did not contain inaccurate coronavirus information, I would have published it just out of sheer absurdity. But while that kind of misinformation seems mildly amusing at worst, I've recently seen with my own eyes just how even seemingly innocuous statements can lead to violence. And it's really easy to fall for them. I have. Yeah, sure, the world in the sky thing happened when I was 4, but I was not 4 when I first heard the conspiracy theory that white archaeologists knocked the noses off of Egyptian sculptures out of racist disrespect, and I fell for it. I'm not immune to misinformation, especially when it conforms to pre-existing beliefs I already have. I knew archaeology had racist roots, and that in my head meant that everything it produced is racist, which is wrong. It also obviously does not mean that everyone who's ever been involved in the field is racist. It's important to investigate, even when something seems correct on its face, because otherwise you end up doing something like what I accidentally did the day before yesterday, which is support not just one, but 2 neo-Nazi organizations. I said in one of my first videos that I rarely delete things even when I'm wrong in them, because I believe that changing my mind is a sign of growth, and it's not actually possible to live around people without hurting them. However, there's a difference between not hiding that I'm trying to be a better person and therefore I am not a better person now, and endorsing literal Nazis. So obviously I'm not going to link to the post, but if you see Freikorps with their Azov battalion insignia or the Hospitallers with their right sector flag, skip them over, and I think I pronounced that right. The Ukrainians deserve a free and democratic country when this is all over, not one run by Russia's government or other fascists. And I'm specifying government, not Russian people who are risking their lives standing up against Putin, because you shouldn't blame an authoritarian country's people for the actions of their government. Like, what do you guys think authoritarian means? Anyways, instead, consider donating to the Canadian Red Cross, where your donation will be matched up to $10 million, or to the Ukraine Humanitarian Appeal, which I've already looked into and found to be Nazi-free. I apologize to everyone I gave misinformation to, and I especially apologize to the Ukrainian people for comparing the brave soldiers who are actually fighting for freedom with two groups of people who aren't fighting for anyone but themselves. You deserve better, and I should have been better. I will try to be better in the future. Unfortunately for everyone, reality and evidence are complicated, and I should stop Putin on airs and pretending like I'm better, or pretending that just because I can easily identify misinformation when it comes from the other side, that it means I can identify when it's coming from inside the house. Bye-bye.